they were interested in transferring funds, but the bulk of their money, they'd actually reserved their rate in advance. So the funny thing is that they'd reserved their rate in advance when the rate was 1.45. They were coming to me for further funds. Well, the rate was that you only got €1.05 for your pound at the time. Just goes to show that by thinking about things ahead of time can save them thousands. And in that particular time, it was almost a third of their purchase price that they were saving.
Yeah. So we're here today because of my YouTube channel, which obviously has started quite recently. And I'm really, really pleased that you've agreed to join me, Karolyn, because I wanted to introduce you and I wanted us to do this video because the services that you offer are excellent. And I know that they're excellent because I've used them for many years. So Karolyn Chauvigné from Lumon, currency exchange company. Can you introduce yourself and your company for me, Karolyn, please?
Thank you, Kyela. Thank you for that nice introduction. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. I work from France. I was an estate agent many years ago, and went on to working in currency exchange. I realized it was an extremely important step for people when they're actually buying a property in France and also selling a property. So, that was my main reason for moving on. It was a very interesting industry. Whilst I was an estate agent, I did actually refer. In fact, it wasn't Lumon at the time. It was Foreign Currency Direct back in the day. So I used to refer my clients to Foreign Currency Direct, and now I'm actually working for them myself. So first of all, this is the first thing I say to people who are looking for currency exchange is that the company is actually fully regulated. Most of our clients are actually English spoken, and they come from all over the world. There are certain countries that are difficult to trade with or are a no-go area, really, like China, for example. Absolutely impossible to get money out of China. So there are restrictions in a lot of places. For me, we are worldwide. I always say, come to us, ask us. The regulations change all the time. And if you have got a currency exchange in mind, then, do ask away, because we may well be able to help. When we were Foreign Currency Direct, it wasn't possible for us to help US residents, for example, whereas now we are able to do that, and we realise that there is a massive market there for US clients moving to France.
I've used Lumon for it's got to be about 10-12 years now, and I've used the services in different ways. And in the UK, we bought a house in the Alps and we needed to make mortgage payments, and so it was like a monthly thing. And it was amazing to have a regular chat with a consultant. It wasn't you at the time, but it was a regular consultant. In fact, it was Steve Eakins. And I know that Steve is going to be on the video that is going to give people a little bit more insight into the company. Steve and I used to maybe speak every 3 or 4 months and just kind of chat on what the currency was doing. The information was always really insightful, and it always kind of blew my mind as to how pertinent the information was, because you guys just seem to have a bit of a crystal ball. I mean, how far ahead can you go in terms of giving us some insight on the currency?
Our traders at the office, to start with, I'd just like to give you a little bit of inside information. We have 3 of our primary traders at the office that deal with our French business. They've been with us for a total of what I've always been saying for the last 3 years. I've always said they've been here for a total of 35 years between them, which is now 38 years between them, including Steve. You spoke about Steve earlier. He's an associate director. He's still with us. People wouldn't even think to ask, when they're looking into companies like ours who do currency exchange. Now, one is that we are Lumon are an e-money institution, and being an e-money institution means that we have the highest level of client fund security. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think there's only three of us, three companies that actually are an e-money institution and do have that higher level of security within France, and that deal with the French business, from France and to and from France, should I say. Now, that was the first thing. And you did say how far can we look ahead of time? Yeah. Now, a lot of people I see it regularly. A lot of people talk about the online companies that there are out there today that are very simple to use and straightforward. But what people don't realise is that it's not the rate on the day that's actually going to make them keep a lot more money in their pocket, so to speak. What it's going to be is reserving that rate in advance. So, for example, we have a forward contract. Now, the forward contract means that clients can book their money, I would say, up to a year in advance. Now,
12 months. That's massive, isn't it?
If someone's looking, for example, to buy a property, I would always say that it would be best to be in touch with the currency company at that moment.
Right.
Because
so it can be several months ahead.
Indeed. And it doesn't mean you have to trade then in advance. It just means that you've got a professional on hand that's there to inform you of the market movements and where the rate is likely to be going in a best or worst situation. So at least we can give them the information that will enable them to make a decision as to, do we reserve a rate in advance or don't we? Do we partially reserve a rate in advance or don't we? So it's that's going to make more money for the clients at the end of the day, and their currency costs them less.
That's what we did when we sold our house in the UK and decided to come to France. It was at that point that we had kind of said, okay, we're selling, we're going to have several £100,000 that we'll need to transfer over to the Eurozone. And I mean, the company was amazing in terms of looking at what influences might have been, and of course for us it was Brexit, and I guess politically today it might be the US elections that we've just had, which kind of have a massive impact on currency.
I think it's a very, very good point, actually. The things that have been happening in the world over the last 4 or 5 years, if not longer, there's been a lot of changes in that period of time, a lot more than we were used to having. Now, I've got a good story to tell actually about that. I was working in currency at the time of Brexit, and I actually spoke to clients. They were interested in transferring funds, but they'd actually, the bulk of their money, they'd actually reserved their rate in advance. So the funny thing is that they'd reserved their rate in advance when the rate was 1.45. And when she actually came to me for further money, I was hoping to sort of be able to advise them or give them information for their purchase, but they'd actually reserved that money already at a great rate, which you can imagine their buying power with that many, that much money reserved in advance. And they were coming to me for further funds. Well, the rate was that you only got €1.05 for your pound at the time they came to me. Wow. So it was really a low, but that, it just goes to show that by thinking about things ahead of time can save them thousands. And in that particular time, it was almost a third of their purchase price that they were saving. Yeah, so brilliant for them. I hate it when I come across people and they're just about to sign their final signature. They've paid their deposit, at the early days and generally use their bank. And then at the final signing, they want to transfer the remainder of generally 90% or, a little bit more, including fees. Now, when they come to me at that stage, I'm like, we can keep our eye on the rate, but they might only have a couple of weeks in hand to actually pinpoint that good rate. Whereas if we were in touch with them in the outset, we would have been at their side to actually give them the information that they need to actually decide or help them decide when to transfer their funds.
Timing is key.
Absolutely. And when people do sign up to it, when they do actually ask for a forward contract and they are reserving their funds in advance, they only actually pay us 10% of the whole deal that we've reserved the rate for them, and then when it comes to the final signing, they'll then pay the rest of the money to us, ready for the release of the final funds. So, it is actually a buy now, pay later. Now, Steve will explain that in his video. There'll be a lot of information there for everyone to listen to.
So, I've just got a bit of a question, because actually that's something that I used to, prior to knowing how you guys worked, I did kind of wonder, where does my money go? I know you guys are regulated, but where does it go?
Your funds actually are kept in any country that we have funds or we deal with funds. We actually have a segregated client account, which holds client funds. So it's never in any way, shape, or form.
I don't share an account with somebody. It's kind of like
segregated client account.
In my account.
Absolutely. It's not an individual account. What it is we hold clients' funds, and then the client funds are actually within that client's name within that account. So, and then when obviously the money's held there and then transferred on when they want to send it to the notaire for their purchase, and vice versa. If people are selling in France, their funds are sent by the notaire to our French-based, our Paris-based Barclays account, where we transfer their funds immediately and send the funds on to them. So it's a lot more rapid than actually sending funds from the notaire through the Caisse des Dépôts, which is the notaire's banking system, and then to the client bank account. Now, they don't know clients as well as we do, and it means that things are really, speedily done.
What's the average time that it takes to sort of get money?
If somebody signs for a sale, for their sale in the morning, very often, more often than not, their funds are in the account by the end of the day.
Okay.
Now, if they sign latter end of the afternoon, and the note, this is bearing in mind that the notaire sends the funds straight away. Now, they do have a time limit that they have to send the funds on within. So as soon as the notaire releases the funds, if they release them in the morning, we'll get them by late afternoon, and if they send the funds in the afternoon, then we will receive the funds in the afternoon, and then the following day, the morning of the following day. So it just means that they get their funds that much quicker in the UK. Now, if it goes through the notary banking system, then it can actually take quite considerably longer, only because they will be then starting to do the checks that they need to do that we've already done. So it has been known that we've had clients come to us because the funds have been held up at the Caisse des Dépôts, so we've then had the notaire send the funds to us, and so that they can get their money rapidly to their account in the UK. So we are rapid and a lot quicker than the notaire. Certainly, if people are signing for a property in the UK, we've many people actually that have used us for that, just for the rapidity of how quickly we can do things for them.
So, if we think about your top tips
are: be in touch with us at a very early date.
Okay.
They just need to register. Once they're registered with us, which is doesn't obligate them to use our services, it just means they're registered with us.
So that doesn't cost anything, does it?
Doesn't cost anything.
Just to kind of say that.
Yeah.
It's free and no obligation.
Absolutely. No charges there whatsoever. It just means they're all registered and ready to go if they wish to at a later date. It also means that they will have an account manager, so trader looking after them for the whole period of the time. So as soon as they do find a property that they're interested in, they can actually then be in a position to contact us and say, what does this mean to me? Financially, how much is this property actually going to cost us? So they can come to their account manager at any particular moment and ask any questions that they have. And of course, when they do find a property, even prior to finding a property, they can also be in, the trader will keep them informed of what the rate's actually doing. And if it does start going against them, that is the moment to start thinking and having those discussions with the account manager to just make sure that they're able to pip a rate when it does actually come up, when a good one does come up, and if it's going against them, it just avoids any loss to the client.
Biggest tip then is registering. Then it's about having regular conversations with your advisor.
Another really good point is the fact that we're working together 3 ways between the estate agent, who's actually dealing with the notaire as well, generally at the time, between the client and ourselves, and it just makes things that much smoother. We know when the funds are needed, and when those conversations need to be had, so that everything's on time and goes through smoothly from beginning to end. I think that's the main importance. It's just really being, shouldered through the whole journey, or looked after through the whole journey, just to make things smooth and just make sure you're getting the best rate possible. We're not talking about transferring a couple of thousand here. It's hundreds of thousands a lot of the time. So it's very, very important. There is a specialized company looking after clients, and we do call ourselves the French property currency specialists, as you'll see from Steve's video. So I think that is paramount, and for people to know what they're letting themselves in for. If they are actually using an online company, we offer the same great rates, but we offer an enormous service alongside as well. So that's where you're going to make your money, is actually having that person informing you of market movements and what's going on, and literally looking after you through the whole process.
Sure. And I think it's worth saying that having that consultant alongside you, whether it's monthly repayments that you're doing, monthly mortgage repayments, whether it be sort of like transferring the odd lump sum of money, either for holidays or for whatever reason, or whether it's because actually you're either bringing in money from France back to the UK or elsewhere, and you're just needing that currency exchange because you've just sold your house in France, because you've got a great estate agent, i.e. me, that's just sold it for you. Or bought a house, or in the process of buying a house, big hundreds of thousands of pounds or euros, or smaller amounts. It's just like, you might as well just use these services and have that personalized kind of relationship with the consultant to sort of get the most out of your money.
Absolutely. And I think that it's going to cost you a lot of money. The exchange rate moves all the time, so if you can be in the know, then so much better for you. It's
all about timing.
Absolutely. Don't leave it till the last minute. You can still get people calling us very last minute when they're completing on a property purchase, and we can't help them as much as we could do if they were in touch with us from the outset. So very, very important. One has a doubt at all, just take a look at our Trustpilot reviews. I think we're at 4.9 out of 5. So you and many others are very, very happy with our service, and a lot of people that have actually used our service. So it's always good to have a little peek on there and have a look at the great comments that we're getting from our clients. Thank
you so much for your time. That was great. I'm really, really glad that we're able to do that. Steve's video. So look into that, and if people want to contact you, we've got all your details at the end of this video as well. So thank you ever so much.